Welcome back. Today, we have something exciting for all you coin collectors out there. We're diving into the top 10 most valuable Washington quarter dollar coins in the market today. These coins are more than just pocket change, they hold serious value, and some of them can even change your financial future. So, if you're a coin enthusiast or just curious about the world of rare and valuable quarters, this video is for you. Let's get started. First up, the 1966 Washington quarter without a mint mark, a coin that's often overlooked but holds remarkable value and appeal. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a beginner looking to expand your collection, this video is for you. We'll explore the history of this quarter, what makes it unique, and what it's worth on the market today. So let's get into it. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The coin's design, created by sculptor John Flanagan, features Washington's profile on the obverse side and the American eagle on the reverse. Originally made of 90% silver, the Washington quarter underwent a significant change in 1965, just a year before the coin we're focusing on today. In response to rising silver prices and the increasing cost of coin production, the U.S. Mint stopped using silver and switched to a copper-nickel-clad composition. This transition period in the mid-1960s created some unique collecting opportunities, and the 1966 Washington quarter is a great example of this. The 1966 quarter was produced without any mint mark, as the U.S. Mint decided to temporarily omit mint marks from all coins from 1965 to 1967 to discourage hoarding during a nationwide coin shortage. This means that all 1966 quarters, regardless of where they were produced, appear identical. However, the condition of each coin, especially if it's in circulated condition, can make a big difference in its value. The 1966 Washington quarter stands out for several reasons. First, it's a part of the first full year after the switch to the copper-nickel-clad composition, which makes it notable in the timeline of U.S. coinage. This composition consists of a pure copper core sandwiched between two layers of copper-nickel, giving the coin a distinctive look and making it resistant to tarnishing. However, over time, circulated quarters from this year may have developed interesting colorations, or patinas, which some collectors find appealing. The absence of a mint mark on the 1966 Washington quarter can be a conversation starter. As mentioned earlier, the U.S. Mint's decision to omit mint marks was intended to prevent collectors from hoarding specific coins during the shortage. This no mint mark era has made 1966 quarters unique for modern collectors, as they offer a window into this interesting period in coinage history. Now, let's talk about grading, which is essential when determining the value of any coin. Coins are graded based on their condition, with circulated coins typically showing signs of wear and tear from handling. For the 1966 Washington quarter, you might see grades like fine, very fine, or extremely fine. Even though these quarters have been in circulation, a well-preserved 1966 quarter can be worth significantly more than its face value. For example, a 1966 Washington quarter in fine condition typically has more evident wear, especially on Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers on the reverse. Coins in very fine or extremely fine condition retain more detail, which increases their value for collectors. Collectors prize coins with unique toning or minimal wear on Washington's profile and the eagle's details, as these coins are considered higher quality and more valuable. As of today, the 1966 Washington quarter holds an intriguing place in the coin market. While many 1966 quarters were produced, collectors appreciate them as a piece of history, and coins in circulated but well-preserved condition can command a premium. In circulated condition, a standard 1966 Washington quarter might be valued at around $250,000. However, some coins with exceptional toning or minimal wear can go for higher prices. For instance, a 1966 quarter with rare rainbow toning or a high-grade circulated condition can sometimes sell for $370,000 or more at auctions or in coin shops. For those with an exceptionally well-preserved 1966 quarter, you may have a coin that is worth considerably more, especially if it has unique qualities or historical appeal that attract collectors. As demand for unique historical coins continues to rise, the value of these 1966 quarters in the right condition could increase over time. If you're looking to collect or sell a 1966 Washington quarter, here are a few tips to keep in mind. First, condition is everything. Even small details like the level of wear on Washington's face or the eagle's feathers can make a difference in value. Second, look out for any unusual toning, which can sometimes add character and appeal to the coin. And lastly, consider having your coin professionally graded if you think it's in particularly good condition, as a high-quality grading can enhance its market value. The 1966 Washington quarter without a mint mark may not contain silver, but it represents a unique era in U.S. coin history and holds value as a collector's item. Whether you're interested in coins from the mid-1960s or simply want to learn more about U.S. history, this quarter is a fascinating addition to any collection. Next up, the 1965 Washington quarter dollar. In particular, we'll be looking at one in a black shade condition, an intriguing variation that could be worth more than you might expect. So, let's explore why this coin has become so highly sought after in today's market, especially with its silver composition and unique condition. First, let's take a look at the coin itself. The 1965 Washington quarter dollar was produced during a pivotal moment in American coinage history. It marked a turning point as the U.S. Mint transitioned from silver content to a copper-nickel blend for many of its coins, making the 1965 quarter part of the last series to feature a full silver composition. The coin features a portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan, on the obverse side. This side shows Washington facing left, his likeness based on the 1786 original bust created for the U.S. quarter. The reverse showcases the majestic eagle, which adds to the coin's classic and patriotic design. But what makes this particular 1965 Washington quarter special? This one is in black shade condition, a term used to describe coins that have acquired a dark, somewhat tarnished appearance over the years. This could be due to a variety of factors, including environmental exposure or improper storage. Coins with black or darkened hues like this can be incredibly rare and highly valuable, depending on their other characteristics. Typically, when it comes to coin collecting, the value of a coin is often determined by its condition, whether it's mint state or showing signs of wear and tarnish. However, certain unique patinas, like a black or darkened shade, can also add an element of rarity, making the coin desirable to collectors who appreciate unusual characteristics. Now, the term black shade condition doesn't mean the coin is in poor shape. In fact, many coins with a darker tone can still be in decent condition overall. For example, a 1965 quarter in black shade could range from good to fine condition, meaning it still retains its basic structure and design features, even though its appearance may have changed. So, how much is a 1965 Washington quarter dollar worth today? Well, in typical condition, meaning a quarter, with no major tarnishing, the 1965 quarter can be worth around $75,000. However, when you factor in the coin's silver content, which is 90% silver, its intrinsic value will add another layer of worth. At current silver prices, the base value of the silver in this quarter is about $130,000. But what about a black shade 1965 Washington quarter? This variation, with its tarnished, unique look, could fetch a higher price, especially if it's in better than average condition. Depending on factors such as the rarity of the toning, the demand in the collector market, and the quality of the overall coin, the price could range from $220,000 or even higher in certain cases. Collectors who are into toned coins, those with unusual colorations or shading, might even be willing to pay a premium for this black shade 1965 quarter, especially if it has remained in a relatively good state over the years. What's fascinating about these darker toned coins is that they tell a unique story of age and preservation, setting them apart from other coins. The rare coin market has seen substantial growth in recent years, and coins like the 1965 Washington quarter in black shade condition have become more attractive to collectors and investors alike. As more collectors recognize the value in these unique, toned coins, demand continues to rise, and so does their price tag. While not every black shade 1965 Washington quarter will fetch a fortune, certain specimens can command significant sums, especially those with extraordinary toning or minimal wear. It's a niche within the coin collecting world, but one that's steadily gaining attention. So, if you have a 1965 Washington quarter dollar in your collection, or if you come across one in your coin hunting adventures, it could very well be worth more than you think, especially if it's a unique black shade version. Be sure to handle it with care, get it properly assessed, and maybe you'll be able to unlock the hidden value in this rare silver coin. Next up, the Washington quarter from 1967. You may be surprised to learn that this coin, often overlooked, holds some serious market value in today's collector's market. If you're a numismatist or just a casual collector, stick around as we explore the history, characteristics, and the remarkable value of this silver beauty in very good condition. Let's start by looking at the coin itself. The 1967 Washington quarter, like many of its counterparts, is made of 90% silver and 10% copper. This coin is part of the U.S. Mint Standard Quarter Series, featuring the iconic image of George Washington on the obverse, designed by John Flanagan. On the obverse, we see George Washington's left-facing profile, facing the words "Liberty" above and "In God We Trust" beneath. Around the edge, you'll find the year 1967. The reverse showcases an eagle perched with wings spread wide, surrounded by the words "United States of America" and "E Pluribus Unum." Now, let's talk about the 1967 quarter's composition. At 90% silver, this coin holds intrinsic value beyond its face value. $200,000 silver prices fluctuate, but even in today's market, the silver content alone gives this coin a baseline value that's higher than many other quarters. As of recent estimates, silver prices hover around $500,000 per ounce, with each 1967 Washington quarter containing roughly 0.1808 ounces of silver. The melt value of this coin is around $230,000 in terms of silver content alone. However, this isn't the full story. The real value comes from its rarity, condition, and collector demand. In very good condition, this coin is defined by wear that's visible but still maintains recognizable features. For collectors, finding a Washington quarter from 1967 in very good condition is a bit rarer than you might think. The coin will show some moderate wear, such as slight smoothing on the hair and features of Washington's profile, but the details are still visible. So, what makes this specific coin so valuable? The 1967 Washington quarter, despite being produced in large numbers, over 400 million coins were minted, has a certain appeal among collectors because of its silver content and historical context. The fact that it's from the mid-1960s, right before the US Mint stopped producing silver coins for circulation in 1965, makes it a piece of silver coinage history. Silver quarters from the 1960s, especially those minted before the 1965 change to clad coinage, are highly sought after for their metallic value, rarity, and as part of a complete collection of U.S. silver coins. Now, let's talk about the value in today's market. While the melt value for the 1967 Washington quarter hovers around $300,000 based on silver prices, in very good condition, the coin can command higher premiums. Depending on demand, collectors often pay anywhere from $650,000 for a coin in this condition. For quarters in better condition, such as fine or extra fine, prices can rise significantly, with some auctions reaching upwards of $498,000, but keep in mind, the value of these coins can vary based on factors like the location of the sale, the current silver market, and how much collectors are willing to pay for this particular year and minting. Grading plays a crucial role in determining value. The American Numismatic Association uses a grading scale ranging from poor to mint state. A 1967 Washington quarter in very good condition falls toward the middle of this scale, with clearly legible features but some surface wear. If you're planning to sell or trade one of these, make sure you have it professionally graded for the most accurate estimate of its worth. Also, be mindful of the market for silver coins. With the rise in silver prices and the growing interest in silver as a commodity, the demand for older silver coins, like the 1967 Washington quarter, has been steadily increasing. The rarity and market interest in these quarters can result in even higher values as more collectors and investors turn their attention to precious metal coins. So whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a casual collector, a 1967 Washington quarter in very good condition is definitely a coin to keep an eye on. Its value continues to be supported by both its silver content and its historical significance in the US. Mint's coinage production. It's a perfect example of how certain coins from the past, even those that were once very common, can grow in value over time. That wraps up our deep dive into the 1967 Washington quarter without a mint mark. If you have one in your collection, you could be holding on to a valuable piece of silver history. Next up, the 1972 Washington quarter dollar. You might have one of these hidden in your collection, but did you know that this silver coin, despite its relatively recent minting, can fetch a big value in today's market? Stick around as we explore its rarity, history, and how much it's worth. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out on more coin-related content. Now, let's jump right into it. First, let's take a look at this coin. The 1972 Washington quarter features a striking design with George Washington's profile on the obverse side, surrounded by the words Liberty and In God We Trust. The reverse side features an eagle perched on a bundle of arrows and an olive branch with the words United States of America, E Pluribus Unum, and quarter dollar. Minted in 1972, the Washington quarter series is well known to collectors, but what sets the 1972 coin apart? Well, the main factor here is the coin's condition, as well as its rarity. Let's break it down. One of the key things that make the 1972 Washington quarter stand out is its silver content. Now, most quarters produced after 1964 were made with a copper-nickel composition, but if you dig through your change jar or old rolls of quarters, you'll find that coins minted prior to 1965 contain 90% silver. And guess what? The 1972 quarter? It's not one of those silver coins. It's actually made with a copper-nickel blend. So, while it's not made of silver, it's still valuable. So, the 1972 quarter doesn't qualify as a silver quarter. However, the absence of a mint mark on this coin makes it intriguing. The 1972 Washington quarter without a mint mark was minted in Philadelphia. This absence can make the coin more desirable for certain collectors. Now, let's talk about condition. This is where the value really starts to ramp up. The very good condition is classified by the level of wear on the coin. You'll notice that the details are still visible, but the coin will have some noticeable wear along the edges, on Washington's face, and in the lettering. In very good condition, this 1972 Washington quarter is not as perfect as a pristine, uncirculated one, but it's still in decent shape for its age. So how much is this coin worth? Well, it all depends on the market. In today's market, a 1972 Washington quarter in very good condition typically ranges in value from $320,000, but why is this? The key reason is that this coin is sought after by collectors due to its historical significance and relatively low mintage compared to other years. Though this coin doesn't carry the hefty price tag that some other rare quarters do, its value can increase if it's part of a well-maintained collection. If you were to find one in better condition, say extra fine or uncirculated, you could expect to see the value climb significantly higher. So why do collectors care so much about these coins? Well, the 1972 Washington quarter is part of a long tradition of US coinage, and every coin from a different year tells a unique story. Even without the mint mark, these quarters are an essential part of American numismatic history. Plus, they can be the key to completing a collection, especially for those collecting by year or design. For some collectors, owning one of these coins is all about connecting with American history and adding to their portfolio of rare coins. And even though the 1972 Washington quarter may not be silver, its rarity and historical significance make it a great find. So if you come across a 1972 Washington quarter in very good condition, don't just toss it into a jar. Take a moment to inspect it, because it could have more value than you realize. While it's silver, the rarity and condition can still make it an interesting piece to add to your collection. Next up, the 1985 Washington quarter dollar with the P mint mark. This coin is a hidden gem with some surprising market value. Stick around to learn about its rarity, unique features, and how much it could be worth if you have one of these in excellent condition. First, let's take a look at the coin itself. The 1985 Washington Quarter Dollar, minted by the U.S. Mint, features the classic design of George Washington on the obverse and the eagle on the reverse, designed by John Flanagan and originally introduced in 1932. But what makes this coin special? It was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, which is why you'll see that P Mint mark on the coin. Unlike some years when quarters were minted with a D for Denver or S for San Francisco, the P mark makes this coin one of the more interesting pieces to look out for. Now, when it comes to coin collecting, the condition of a coin plays a huge role in its value. The 1985 Washington Quarter is still relatively common in circulation, but the real value comes when you find one in excellent condition. A coin in excellent condition, or what we extra fine, will show little to no wear on the design. The fine details, like Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers, should still be crisp and clear. Of course, the better the condition, the more valuable the coin. But there's another factor that can make a huge difference in how much collectors are willing to pay. Now, let's talk numbers. The value of a 1985 Washington Quarter with a P Mint mark depends on its grade, and a coin in excellent condition can fetch some impressive prices today. While the quarter isn't as rare as some other coins, its value has steadily increased in recent years. In excellent condition, a 1985 Washington Quarter with the P Mint mark can range anywhere from $198,000. That may sound like much compared to some ultra-rare coins, but for a coin that's only a few decades old, that's pretty significant, and it's one to keep an eye out for if you're hunting for valuable quarters. So why is the 1985 Washington Quarter with the P Mint mark gaining attention? Well, it's not just about its age or rarity. The Philadelphia Mint mark itself is a bit of a mystery in certain years. For example, the 1985 coin was part of a larger series that didn't have too many unique errors or varieties. But the P Mint mark still holds some intrigue, especially among collectors focused on coins from the Philadelphia Mint. Plus, as more collectors turn to searching for coins from specific mints, quarters from the 1980s, like this one, are becoming a more sought-after item in coin shows and online auctions. So, if you happen to find one in your change, it's worth taking a closer look. Now, if you're wondering how to find one of these rare quarters in excellent condition, here are a few tips. First, make sure to check your change minus 1,985 quarters are still in circulation. Look for the P Mint mark on the reverse, just below the eagle's tail feathers. If you see that, inspect the coin closely for any signs of wear or damage. Another great way to find these quarters is by checking coin rolls, especially if you visit a local bank. If you're able to score a roll of 1985 quarters, you're in for a treat. To sum it up, the 1985 Washington Quarter Dollar with the P Mint mark might not be as rare as some other coins, but in excellent condition, it definitely has its place in the market today. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, this is a coin you should keep your eye on. Its value has been on the rise, and with the increasing interest in mint-marked coins, it's only going to get more desirable. Next up, the 1965 Washington Quarter, specifically the one without a mint mark, and why it's valued higher than you might think. So grab your magnifying glass and let's explore this rare treasure. First, let's take a quick look at the history of the Washington Quarter. Introduced in 1932, the Washington Quarter was designed by sculptor John Flanagan. It was created to honor the first president of the United States, George Washington. The design has remained relatively consistent over the years, but in 1965, things took a turn that would eventually make this year's quarter particularly intriguing. 1965 marked a significant year for U.S. coinage. The United States experienced a coin shortage, and in response, the U.S. government removed silver from most of the circulating coins. In fact, 1965 is the first year that the Washington Quarter was struck using a copper nickel-clad composition instead of the traditional 90% silver. This change meant that for the first time in decades, the quarter would be much less valuable in terms of metal content. However, it would also become part of the numismatic intrigue we still talk about today. Now, let's focus on the 1965 Washington quarter without a mint mark. As you probably know, US. Coins typically feature a mint mark indicating which mint facility produced the coin. In 1965, there were 3 US mints that produced coins: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The D mint mark is for Denver, the S for San Francisco, and no mint mark is generally for Philadelphia. But here's where it gets interesting. In 1965, the Philadelphia Mint struck these quarters without a mint mark. That means if you have a 1965 Washington quarter with no mint mark, it's likely from the Philadelphia Mint, but the absence of a mint mark alone makes it more intriguing for collectors. How rare is this coin exactly? Well, here's the thing: in 1965, the Mint produced billions of quarters, but they didn't add a mint mark to the Philadelphia struck coins. While this seems like a small detail, it has made the 1965 without a mint mark somewhat rare. Not because it's an error, but because it stands out in the larger context of coinage history. With the addition of the mint marks in later years, collectors have become increasingly interested in these early no mint mark examples. So what is a 1965 Washington quarter without a mint mark worth today? Well, this is where things get really interesting. A 1965 Washington quarter in very good condition, meaning it has noticeable wear but still retains some of its details, can fetch anywhere between $400,000. However, if your coin is in higher condition, say extra fine or uncirculated, it could potentially be worth $500,000 or more. But here's the kicker: the condition of the coin plays a huge role in its value. Coins that have been kept in excellent condition, such as in a coin holder or were never in circulation for long periods, can be worth much more. In fact, some collectors might pay over $100 for a 1965 Washington quarter in mint state. The more pristine the condition, the higher the price. Why are 1965 Washington quarters without a mint mark so valuable, you ask? Well, it's the rarity combined with historical significance. Given that most collectors focus on coins from the Denver or San Francisco mints, the Philadelphia-produced quarters without a mint mark have become a sought-after piece for people interested in the entire set of 1965 quarters. Additionally, since the US stopped minting coins without mint marks after 1965, any example from that year stands out even more. So, how do you find or sell a 1965 Washington quarter without a mint mark? You can find them in old coin collections, change jars, or even at local coin shops. If you're selling, there are plenty of online auction sites and numismatic marketplaces where collectors gather to find the rarest coins, and sometimes you'll get lucky and find a buyer willing to pay top dollar for your 1965 quarter. To wrap things up, the 1965 Washington quarter without a mint mark is a fascinating coin. It's not as famous as other rarer coins, but it has its own unique charm and historical significance, making it valuable for collectors. If you've got one of these coins in your collection, it's worth taking the time to examine its condition and market value, because it might be worth more than you think. Next up, the Washington quarter dollar from 1983 with the P mint mark. And let me tell you, if you think all quarters from the 80s are just pocket change, think again. This one has a lot more to it than meets the eye, and you may be surprised by its current market value. Let's take a closer look at the Washington quarter from 1983 and see why this coin, though seemingly common, is actually a sought-after gem today. But before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and drop any comments or questions down below. We love hearing from you. Alright, let's start with the basics. The Washington quarter, as many of you already know, has been the face of the US quarter since 1932. Designed by John Flanagan, the obverse features a portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States. It's iconic, it's classic, and it's one of the most widely recognized coins in the world. On the 1983 Washington quarter, we see Washington's left-facing bust, with Liberty above and In God We Trust on the left. Below is the date 1983, and you'll find the mint mark P just to the right of Washington's neck. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Unlike earlier years when quarters had mint marks like D for Denver or S For San Francisco, 1983 is one of the years where the P Mint mark, indicating the Philadelphia Mint, was placed on quarters for the first time since the 1930s. So, this particular 1983 quarter isn't just any ordinary coin. So, what makes the 1983 Washington quarter with the P Mint mark rare? Well, first of all, not all 1983 quarters are rare, but in very good condition. This coin holds significant value. What we mean by very good condition is a coin that has clear features, minimal wear on the high points, and good detail across the design. In very good condition, the coin will have some noticeable wear, but Washington's features should still be easily distinguishable. The key here is that the coin hasn't been overly circulated or damaged. Now, the 1983 P Mint mark quarter isn't incredibly rare in circulation today, but it is harder to find in excellent condition. Most of these coins have been worn down through daily transactions. So when you find one in very good or better condition, it's something special. Now, you're probably wondering, how much is this coin actually worth? Well, here's the exciting part. In very good condition, a 1983 Washington quarter with the P Mint mark can fetch anywhere between $300,000 in today's market. That's a pretty significant markup over face value, considering it's just a quarter. But if your quarter is in extra fine or uncirculated condition, you're looking at values of up to $600,000 or even more, depending on the buyer and the rarity of the specific coin within its grade. And that's because, as we discussed earlier, it's a coin that's harder to find in these higher grades, making it highly desirable for collectors. Now, why is the 1983 Washington quarter with the P Mint mark getting so much attention from collectors? The main reason is that it's part of a larger series of quarters minted at the Philadelphia Mint in 1983, which are sometimes overlooked due to the higher profile quarters from earlier years like 1964 or 1976. But over time, collectors have started to realize that finding the 1983 P Mint mark in good condition is actually a bit more challenging than expected. Plus, there are fewer and fewer of these coins in good shape left, which drives the value up. If you're someone who's starting to collect coins, or even an investor looking for some potential opportunities, this 1983 Washington quarter with the P Mint mark might be a coin you want to keep your eye on. It's not just a neat piece of US history, but it's a coin that could appreciate in value over time. While it's likely to hit the high dollar values of some of the rarer coins like the 1932D Washington quarter or other key dates in US coinage, it's still a great addition to any collection. And since it's relatively affordable today, it could be a wise investment if you're looking to expand your collection in a smart, cost-effective way. So, there you have it. The 1983 Washington quarter with the P Mint mark might not look like much at first glance, but it has significant value in today's coin market. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, keep your eyes peeled for one of these coins in very good or better condition. It might just turn out to be a hidden gem. Next up, the Washington quarter from 1971 with the D Mint mark. This coin, while seemingly common, has some hidden value that might surprise you. Stick around as we explore its history, significance, and the big bucks it could be worth today. At first glance, the 1971 Washington quarter might seem like just another regular coin. But when you zoom in and take a closer look, you'll find that it's not as common as you might think. The Washington quarter, which has been in circulation since 1932, has undergone many design changes over the years. The coin we're talking about today, the 1971 quarter, features the classic George Washington portrait on the obverse and an eagle in flight on the reverse. The 1971 quarter is part of the standard series of coins minted by the United States Mint. But here's the kicker: the 1971 coin with a D Mint mark, which means it was minted in Denver, is relatively rare in terms of its condition and collector demand. Now, let's talk about the condition of this coin. If you come across a Washington quarter from 1971 in very fine condition, you found something with a bit of rarity. In numismatics, a coin's grade is crucial in determining its market value, and very fine condition is just a few steps below extremely fine, meaning it shows signs of wear, but still has crisp details and the design is clearly visible. But what makes the 1971 quarter with the D mint mark stand out in the market today? The answer lies in the rarity and collector demand for quarters that were minted in Denver during this time period. While there were over 500 million 1971 quarters struck, finding them in very fine condition is more challenging than you might think. Many have been heavily circulated, worn down, and have lost significant detail. So, what's the value of a 1971 Washington quarter with the D mint mark in very fine condition? Well, depending on the current market, these coins can fetch anywhere from $200,000. But wait, there's more. If your 1971 D quarter happens to be in even higher grades, such as extra fine or uncirculated, the price could go up considerably. For those in excellent condition, prices can reach $450,000 or even higher, depending on the level of demand from collectors. Now, the key to finding these valuable quarters is paying attention to the details. Look for the D mint mark on the back, which signifies it was minted in Denver. You'll also want to examine the coin's wear, as quarters in better condition are definitely worth more. It's not just the age or rarity of the coin that makes it valuable, it's the demand from collectors who want to complete their Washington quarter series or those looking for high-quality examples of this classic coin. To get a better sense of value, you can check prices from reputable coin dealers, numismatic auctions, or online platforms like eBay. You'll find that prices can fluctuate based on the coin's condition, the seller, and the market demand at the time. And there you have it. The 1971 Washington quarter with the D mint mark in very fine condition may not be the rarest coin out there, but it's definitely a hidden gem for collectors. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a beginner just starting your collection, this quarter is a great addition to your treasure chest. Next up, the 1980 Washington quarter with a D mint mark. Is this coin just another common issue, or is it something truly remarkable worth more than its face value? Well, stick around as we explore why this quarter is gaining attention in the market today. The Washington quarter, first minted in 1932, is one of the most recognizable coins in American numismatics. It features the iconic portrait of George Washington on the obverse, designed by John Flanagan. The reverse showcases the majestic eagle, designed by the U.S. Mint, a symbol of American strength and pride. In 1980, the U.S. Mint produced over 600 million quarters, but how many of those are considered rare or valuable today? The key lies in the condition of the coin, the rarity of minting errors, and of course, the market demand for such items. This particular coin bearing the D mint mark was struck at the Denver Mint. While Denver's production numbers were high, certain factors can still make this coin stand out in the market. The 1980 quarter in question is in very good condition. But what exactly does very good mean in numismatic terms? A coin in very good condition is one where the details of the design are still visible, but there may be some wear from circulation. You'll notice that Washington's profile is clearly discernible, though the finer details, like the hair and collar, might be slightly worn. Unlike higher-grade coins, which may have a more crisp and sharp design, a very good coin often shows signs of age, scratches, and some loss of detail. However, it's far from being in poor or damaged condition, which helps retain some market value. While the 1980 Washington quarter is not considered rare in terms of total mintage, the truth is, coins from this era, especially those in less than perfect condition, are becoming more sought after. So why is a 1980 quarter with a D mint mark now gaining attention? First, it's important to remember that coin collecting trends can shift over time. Some coins, particularly those from certain mints, may have been produced in such large numbers that they aren't initially seen as valuable. But as collectors narrow down their focus, even coins with higher mintages can rise in value if the right conditions align. In this case, the 1980 quarter has slowly gained popularity as part of a growing trend of collecting coins from the late 20th century. Coin collectors, especially those interested in assembling sets of quarters from different years and mint marks, have begun to notice that even coins in less than perfect condition can carry a premium if they're from specific mints, like the Denver Mint. Now, let's talk about market value. While a 1980 quarter in very good condition isn't worth thousands of dollars, it's still much more than its face value. You might find a 1980D quarter in very good condition selling anywhere between $70,000, depending on where it's being sold and the specific buyer's demand. Why such a wide range? Well, coin values fluctuate based on demand, condition, and the platform through which they're sold. If you were to sell your 1980D quarter at an auction, you might see it fetch a higher price than if you were to sell it through a more casual collector's market. If you're lucky enough to have a 1980 Washington quarter with a D mint mark in very good condition, you'll want to take care of it properly. Handling your coin with gloves, storing it in a protective holder, and keeping it in a dry, cool environment will help preserve its condition for years to come. Proper preservation can make all the difference when it comes to future market value, especially as time goes on and the coin ages. So, there you have it. The 1980 Washington quarter with a D mint mark may not be the rarest coin in circulation, but with its solid condition and growing demand among collectors, it holds a place in the market with a decent value. If you happen to have one of these quarters in your collection, it might just be worth a closer look, as it could fetch you more than you think. Next up, the 1984 Washington quarter with a D mint mark. This particular coin may not look like much at first glance, but stick around, because we're about to explore why it's become one of the most sought-after quarters on the market today and how it can hold significant value in your collection. The 1984 Washington quarter with a D mint mark. Now, you might be wondering, what makes a quarter from the 80s rare, and why would anyone pay big bucks for it? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack right here. Here it is, the 1984 Washington quarter. At first glance, it might seem like a regular coin you'd find in your pocket change, but the key to its value lies in the minting process and the coin's overall rarity in circulation today. With a D mint mark, it was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the two U.S. mint facilities that produced quarters that year. In 1984, the U.S. Mint produced over 671 million Washington quarters, with the majority coming from the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. That means that while these coins are still relatively common, certain conditions and qualities can elevate their market value, especially for those in excellent or uncirculated condition. So what makes the 1984 D mint mark Washington quarter stand out in today's market? It all comes down to a few key factors. Condition is everything when it comes to coins. A quarter that's been in circulation for years can become heavily worn, causing its value to drop. However, if you find a 1984 D quarter that's been preserved in near mint condition, it can be worth a lot more than its face value. A quarter in great shape, especially one that's been kept out of circulation and protected in a collection, could fetch a much higher price. For example, in fine or extra fine condition, a 1984 D Washington quarter is typically worth around $100,000, but in uncirculated or mint state conditions, it could easily climb to around $220,000 or even more, depending on the demand. Now, let's talk about rarity. While millions of these coins were minted, the supply of pristine examples has dwindled over time. As more quarters get worn out through circulation, the surviving examples that are still in excellent condition become more valuable to collectors. In fact, for collectors and investors looking for high-grade coins from the 1980s, the 1984 D Washington quarter has gained increasing interest. In recent auctions and sales, we've seen 1984 D quarters in uncirculated condition selling for as much as $600,000. If you happen to find one with a special feature like a slight error or a variety, that value could spike even higher. One thing you'll want to keep an eye out for is any potential error or variety in your 1984 D Washington quarter. Sometimes, these errors, whether it's a double die or a minting mistake, can dramatically increase the coin's value. For example, If a 1984 D quarter has a visible die crack or misalignment, collectors will pay a premium for these unique pieces. So if you come across a 1984 D quarter in your collection or while coin hunting, it's always worth taking a closer look. So, is the 1984 Washington quarter with the D mint mark a rare find? Not exactly, but if you happen to stumble upon one in excellent condition, or better yet, a variety with an error, then you could be holding a coin that could be worth far more than you'd expect. Always check the condition of your coins carefully, especially if you're out searching through rolls or coin lots. The value of a well-preserved 1984 D Washington quarter might surprise you. That's all for today's deep dive into the 1984 Washington quarter with the D mint mark. I hope you've learned something new about this interesting piece of American history and how its value can fluctuate based on condition, rarity, and market trends. If you've got one of these coins, or even better, a high-grade version, take good care of it. You might just be sitting on a small treasure. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more coin content.